hit up Meyer, because this dude right here, this ain't getting the job done for a tripod. It's cool for some stuff. Not vlogging though. Not usually, at least. Much better. Much better. Nice. Now we can go get some work done. Now that we got an actual working tripod. And we can maybe tell a story about my journey with weight loss and diet and all that other non-fun stuff. So, I had a grocery store trip planned today, and it got me thinking about, my experience with diet, exercise, and weight loss, and cheat days, no cheat days, those kinds of things. And I've had a really weird and up and downhill battle with weight loss, trying different diets, failing at them, starting over, trying a different diet, and recently in the last, I would say, 6 months to almost 6 to 8 months, I would say, kind of decided that, wasn't going to do any more diets. I was just going to, be more balanced and eat a more healthy lifestyle, which is ultimately what I want to do, is have a healthy lifestyle, not necessarily just being thin and being fit. It's just about kind of living a longer life, and if not living longer, just being healthier and more active and able later on in life. So ultimately those are my goals. Wait a minute, these birds are a little loud. Come back. So I moved away from where the birds were so I could come hang out by this loud ass river and finish talking about my diet. And I think if you look back maybe 2 years or so ago, some earlier videos that I was doing was more like diet, exercise focused. And at the time I kind of thought that was going to be my passion. I had just kind of been into the ketogenic diet. I had gotten down to probably what was the thinnest I had been in a long time, maybe even thinner than I was in high school. I know a lot of people, that's their glory days, but for me, I was kind of a pudgy kid. I never really ate well. And once I discovered ketogenic, which is a low carb diet if you don't know, which isn't the most pleasurable diet of all, but it was definitely effective and it worked for me. And dropping down that weight really felt good, and I kind of thought that was my calling for a while, personal trainer, fitness kind of guy. And it all kind of fell apart for me once I discovered the cheat day. And I started dabbling with the cheat day once a week, which led me to doing, maybe 2 days a week. And in those 2 days a week, crept into 3 days a week. And ultimately, my whole diet fell apart. And probably a year later from now, I had actually swollen up to maybe the biggest I'd ever been in my life. I was standing in line, actually at the mall, waiting to get a Cinnabon. Yeah, Cinnabon. And at the time, I I mean, I knew that I gained some weight, but I didn't really have a scale in the house. I knew I felt big, but it didn't really seem like a lot, I guess. But there was a GNC really close to the Cinnabon place, actually next door, that had a scale, and it would measure your body fat percentage. And I decided to do it. It was only $1, so I hopped on the scale, looked at my body fat composite, and I was shocked at what I found. So, 1 year removed from being the thinnest I had ever been in my life, probably at about 210 pounds, I had went to actually the biggest I had ever been in my life. And I was around 280 pounds at the time, and 21% body fat, according to the GNC scale body composite machine. And I was kind of mortified and a little sad and depressed on myself at the time, and I really wanted to pull it together. So, like after that, I kind of left, and I had that fire in my belly of like, all right, let's go. You've done it before. You can do it again. Get back on the diet and get rid of this weight. And that led me into the next year of really, really struggling with getting back to the weight I was at and the weight I felt comfortable at. I threw a lot of money at it. I threw money at trainers, different books, because I felt like keto was failing me. It was too difficult to stick with. I was trying different diets that I had heard about, slow carb and paleo and, all the big names that most people try. And it wasn't that they weren't working for me necessarily, because when you stick with something, it works. But I just really struggled with sticking with it. And, I moved finally on to kind of a more balanced diet and, intermittent fasting, just kind of skipping breakfast, pushing my meals later into the evening. And still now, I'm not where I want to be, but a year later, from the 280 pounds, I'm down to about 245. And ideally, I would like to be, about 25, 30 pounds lighter. But so from about a year ago, when I was still at the 280, I'm down now, like I was saying earlier, about 245. And like I was saying, I kind of want to, drop about 20, 30 maybe more pounds. And with the balanced diet, with just like still eating carbs and basically body running off glucose, sugar, it was working for me, but it was inconsistent, and it took a long time to drop those 30 pounds, just because I didn't have parameters set around what exactly I could and couldn't eat. So there would be days when I ate things that I probably shouldn't have, or ate too much of something. And ultimately, that kind of sent me back in the last couple of weeks to a keto diet, just for the simple fact that when you're cutting carbs, you're also restricting your calories without even trying. And on a glucose or a normal balanced diet, you're not going to lose weight if you're not paying attention to how many calories and paying attention to your macros. And some of this might be foreign talk for you guys, but if you ever decide to get into weight loss, this is probably why you would rather go with a keto diet, is just because cutting out bread and pasta and stuff like that sounds super difficult, but in reality, it's actually a lot easier than going in, weighing your food, counting calories, stuff like that, because that just is not for me on a day-to-day basis, and it's not practical for someone like me, where I'm not necessarily trying to, go to competitions or be a power lifter. I'm just trying to, look decent at the beach or with my shirt off with my girl. So it's not like I'm trying to be, a super athlete. I'm not really here to give advice on diet or tell anyone what to do or what not to do. Like I said, I'm just here to kind of share my story and what I've been through with the whole thing, and it's really made me sympathetic to people who maybe struggle with weight loss and who might have tried and failed and tried again, because I know the effects that it can have mentally on you and as a person and emotionally even. Um, for me, like I said earlier, it was really easy the first time I tried it, and I just kind of lost the fat pretty quickly. And obviously, it's been a struggle for me ever since, once I gained the weight back and more. And now going back to a keto diet, which for me was very effective, and it worked for me when I originally started, when I actually stuck with it. And that's ultimately what any diet is about, is sticking with it. But for me, the keto diet especially was fast and effective, and it wasn't completely unpleasurable. There's a lot of stuff in there still that I ate that was really tasty, and a lot of different substitutes for the pastas and the breads that you might normally have. And they're not the greatest, you know what I mean? It's getting better with time. People are creating, low carbohydrate breads and pastas, but ultimately, the thing that took me away from it was I just felt like it wasn't sustainable. And recently, listening to what, I'm not even going to tell you what he said, but if you want to listen to what Rogan had to say about diet sustainability, go just Google that, Joe Rogan on diet sustainability. And what he had to say kind of changed my mindset, and it just has me in a different wavelength on like how I'm thinking about losing weight and how I think about diet. Because now it's really just about doing, what you set your mind to, like, and that's really it. You know what I mean? I get it. Food can be addicting. Sugar is amazing, and some of the foods I named, people don't want to give up. But like, if you want to go about it that way, that's fine. Like, I'm not telling anyone what to do with their life, but if you want to lose weight, I think a low carbohydrate diet is probably the most simplistic way for an average person to do it. And that's probably an oversimplification, but for me, I think that has been the easiest way for me, and I've seen it work for a lot of other people that have stayed with it. It's just once they break it. And that leads me right into what I wanted to talk about next, which was cheat days. And ultimately, cheat days was the thing that originally got me down this whole path of weight loss and weight gain, should I say, in that yo-yo diet effect that everyone talks about, up and down, up and down. Because when I started doing cheat days, I know I mentioned this earlier, I kind of ran over and, did it more than once and twice a week. And now I've reduced it to once a month. And I think if anybody who wants to do any type of diet, you can have those kind of days where you just have blowouts and eat a ton of shit. I think that's just natural, and I think that keeps you on pace. But when you start doing it once a week, or a couple times a week, or on the weekends, you aren't your diet, your results are going to be very inconsistent and ultimately going to be discouraging, and that's probably what's going to lead you to falling off. But I just want to wrap this video up. It's probably ran way too long already, so if you stayed this long, definitely give me a like, give me a subscribe, maybe tell me how something I could have did different in the comments, maybe what you liked, what you didn't like. That would be awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.